What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bible Fun with It. Today we're studying Zechariah chapter 11. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so in Zechariah, we got a book that lasts about 14 different chapters. Now, one of the things that's happening whenever we get into chapter 11 is where the book started with visions and dreams. Now it's moving ahead kind of to the other role of the prophet, which is looking elsewhere. So John, tell us a little bit about the role of the prophet.
So prophets, they have two major roles, and one of them is like to say what's happening like now, and then one of them is what they're like most known for, looking into like the future. And
yeah. So really what John is talking about is that the prophet has two jobs. One job is to forthtell. So if you were spelling that, it would be F-O-R-T-H, forthtell. And what that means is that when the prophet speaks, is he telling lies or is he telling the truth?
Telling the truth.
Okay. And when the prophet tells us the truth, is it something that we always want to hear, or sometimes does it kind of hurt our feelings a little bit?
Sometimes.
Okay. Why? Because sometimes the truth hurts. But the other side of the prophet is sometimes he foretells. We would spell that F-O-R-E. He foretells, which means he looks down through the hallway of time and he tells us some things that are coming up. Now Zechariah takes an important strategy here, and he does what a lot of different prophets do. Now here's what he's doing. He's looking out at the future and he's talking about the judgment that's to come. Now, it's not just a judgment that's going to come on Israel, although yes, there's that. But he also starts talking about other places. Like when he opens up, he talks about Lebanon. Lebanon in that area is known for huge cedar trees. You find them all the way back in the story of David. They sent cedars and cypress to Israel to build like the temple and the tabernacle and things like that. And then you got cedar trees coming from those places. Then you got a place called Bashan. Bashan is known for mighty oak trees. And Zechariah is looking down through time and he says there's going to be a day when even the tallest trees are going to be cut down and everything's going to be gone. Then he moves on to Israel. So Zechariah wants Israel to know what's going to happen to them. And the news is not great. The news is that one day they are going to come under swift judgment. And it's judgment for something that they're going to do. So here's what Isaiah does. Or I keep calling him Isaiah. Here's what Zechariah does. Zechariah kind of role plays something. He goes out and he gets a job. What job does he get, John? He works with sheep, so he's a shepherd. And so when he goes into the field, he sees all of his sheep and he carries with him 2 shepherd sticks. Yeah, well, what does he call the shepherd sticks?
Favor and union. Favor
and union. And so what he's signifying, like he's going out to work with these sheep, and he brings favor and he brings union. He says, this is the arm of restoration, that's union, and then favor, what's grace. And so he shows up to help these sheep and to bring good things with him. But here's the problem. The job goes terrible. I mean, it could not have gone worse. And everybody's watching because they know all of this means something. And so Zechariah goes out, he's trying to help this sheep. He's only bringing good things with him. But do the other people like him? No. Do they treat him good? No. As a matter of fact, they fire him, they make him quit, they make it horrible. And he finally just says, all right, fine, I've had enough. And he goes up to him and he says, just pay me what you owe me. And they take out 30 pieces of silver. Now, 30 pieces of silver back in those days was enough money. If you looked in the Old Testament, that was the amount of money that they would buy a slave for. And so they treat him like a dirty, rotten scoundrel, and they give him the lowest amount they could. They totally reject him. And then what Zechariah says is, hey, the way this just played out, he calls that 30 pieces of silver a princely price. Well, here's how he says, now, looking down through the tunnel of time, here's what you need to know. You're going to experience the judgment of God. And here's why. Because one day, God is going to send a shepherd, the good shepherd. This is the Messiah. And God's going to send this good shepherd, and he's going to come into the land, and he is going to bring with him wonderful, good blessings. He's going to come with the good things. but the sheep are going to reject him. The people are going to reject him. Everybody's going to reject him. As a matter of fact, one of his closest friends and followers is going to betray him for guess how much money?
30 pieces of silver.
30 pieces of silver. This is why they call it a princely price. And so when Jesus comes along, Jesus brings only good things with him. And he calls himself, I am the good
shepherd.
He said, I am the good shepherd, and the shepherd lays his life down for the sheep. Well, what do the sheep do? They reject him. So Judas betrays Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. And then you even have this. And in verse 13, it says, and the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter. Well, do you know what happened in the days of Jesus? When Judas betrayed Jesus, the chief priests gave Judas 30 pieces of silver. They betrayed him. And so Judas takes the money, they get Jesus. And the next day, Judas is so broken up over what he's done. He brings that 30 pieces of silver back to the chief priest and he goes, I can't accept this money. We got to make this right. And they're like, no. The deal has been made. It's all done. And he takes the money and he says, will you take your money? And he throws it and it falls all over the ground of the temple in front of those guys. And the priests look at it and they go, we can't take that money. He said, that money was used to kill somebody. We can't, it's blood money. And then one guy says, well, I have an idea. He said, we got a lot of people who, when they die, they don't have anywhere to be buried. He said they don't have any family or friends, and it always costs us money to bury them. They said, what if we take this money and we buy it and we bury homeless people in it? And everybody was like, this is a great idea. Tell us where this land is. And he said, well, the guy who owns it right now is a potter. So go buy the potter's field for 30 pieces of silver. The money was thrown at them, and that's what they do with it. Well, when Zechariah is talking here, he says the judgment of God is going to come down on you because you are going to reject the good shepherd, betray him for 30 pieces of silver. And it says, he calls it here, he's talking about the potter. And the Lord said to me, throw it to the potter. Well, when we read this story, we're going to figure out that from here on out, Zechariah is going to tell these people over and over the types of things they can expect when the Messiah comes. This is how he'll be betrayed. And yet still in Jesus' day, even knowing this, they never caught it. So what we want to do is we want to read the Bible. We want to be faithful, try our very best to understand it, because was this a difficult chapter?
Yes.
Yeah. But we want to try our best to understand it, because when we know our Bible, it all starts linking up and making sense. And that's what we want. We want this to make sense to us. We appreciate you watching. We'll see you tomorrow in chapter number 12.
Bye.